From pay-to-win mechanics to less gameplay depth than a puddle, I don't like the new PvE Bloodhunt mode. In fact, I'd go as far to say it sucks. It's massively flawed and the dev team entirely missed the mark. Let's talk about it. Now look, it's okay to enjoy something that's flawed. You can love a bad movie, you can have fun in a bad game mode. I'm not here to tell you what you can and can't find fun in, especially with friends. Stacking with 4 of your favourite idiots might be the most fun way to enjoy any game. So please understand, my complaints aren't designed in any way to tell you what you can or can't enjoy. I just want to highlight why I, someone who held the world record for the fastest solo clear time in the previous PvE event, cannot find the same enjoyment in this one. Starting with my biggest issue, the gameplay. I will spend all 100 of my lives to prove that this is a bullshit boss fight. Do not test me. I want to start this section by acknowledging something. A casual, limited time mode is always going to have less depth than a mainline game mode. That's normal. What's not normal is for the second version of a PvE event to have less depth and less skill expression than the first. PvE 1, for all its flaws, at least let you try different builds with different stat lines. Sure, at higher levels, you mostly stacked either high damage, lifesteal, or high health bruiser builds, but the randomness of the cards, which I'm glad to see gone, at least forced each run to play a little differently. That said, let's be real, the card RNG sucked. No one liked losing a run because you didn't draw the right cards and failed a Scarlet Witch DPS check. The problem is, in Bloodhunt, the stat checks got worse. I noticed this immediately. On my first playthrough, I reached Extreme, the highest non-nightmare difficulty. I got to the final boss and I couldn't beat him. Dracula just kept healing to full. My stats weren't high enough. So I spent the next hour burning respawn tokens, refusing to leave, just to prove to my chat that it didn't matter what I did, the game had already decided I wasn't allowed to win. Why are you doing that? No, like, it's weird. What are you doing? Wait, is he at full health again? Is he healing himself? I hope not. A damage spongy boss with the ability to heal himself sounds cringe as. Oh, well, I'm dead. Oh, maybe not. And then he one-shots me through a wall. They've done it again. They made a dumb boss fight that just requires mass stats to survive and get through. I'm so happy. Brother just keeps going back to full health and then one-shotting you. Look, Dormammu, I'm here. And I'm not leaving. Oh, he put me through the wall! And then one-shot me. And then one-shot me. Of course he did. Of course he one-shot me out of line of sight. Why did he do that to me? God forbid I want to solo the game and not play with a million other people. He's going to heal 87 levels now, and there's nothing I can do about it. Yep, there we go. Back to full health. That's fun. That makes sense. Why is this game designed? Oh, by the way, we know that we made it so you can get to this point, but don't worry, at this point, if you don't have an arbitrary amount of stats, you get one shot and you can't win. One shot? Oh, wow. What good game design. Wow, what good game design. I really thought, you know what the best game designers do? All of the games people talk about, like Dark Souls and stuff that do difficulty really well. They put a boss in front of you that stats-wise is literally impossible to kill. That's what they're known for. It's not a test of your skill or your reactions or your abilities to play the game well. No, it's just a high number bar where you have to hold down a button and just hope that you kill them before they fully heal and insta-kill you. That's what Dark Souls and other games that do difficulty infamously well are known for, right? Suck my dick. I died again. Brother thinks he is an unstoppable object. Joke's on you. I have 100 lives and I'll spend them all. I will spend all 100 of my lives to prove that this is a bullshit boss fight. Do not test me. Do not You know what makes a fight fun? Being one-shot and having no ability to survive it. I like that. That's what I call good game design. I can't wait for him to fully heal. Oh good, he's back at full health. This fight is satisfying and fun. And here's what proves it to me. This is the same fight on my second attempt. All I did was lose from my first attempt and then load back in and push back to the same boss. Do you see what? Oh, what? Look. Guys, look. Look. He's already lower than the furthest I got him last time. What skill element have I changed? What have I got better at? Nothing. There is nothing I am doing better than before. Nothing. It is entirely arbitrary and entirely stats based, which is bad game design. What are we doing? Why are we not thinking about how we design things to make them actually interesting? Why is it just, oh, you didn't have stats, you died? Like, come on. Like, I've done nothing better than before. I've dodged less this time. Yeah, I know he's gonna fully heal again, but my point is last time, he was out healing my damage. Like that was my complaint last time. He would out heal my maximum possible damage and one-shot me on repeat. That's dumb as f. But now that I've upgraded my stats a little, I'm actually cutting his health down. It's not a skill-based thing, it's a numbers-based thing. Why are we playing a mobile game on my PC? What in the bloatware have I had to update Rivals to have in it? Like, what are we doing? Why, when we could make something so much more impressive, are we limiting ourselves to a stat check simulator? Surely I'm not the only person that sees this. You want to say the area? I mean, it didn't matter, clearly. I was just stood outside it for ages, still killing him. Damn, that was so difficult. I'm glad that I improved so much between this and the previous one. I'm super disappointed. I was really hoping, like, that it wouldn't be dumb. I actively played worse in the second fight, but I found it incredibly easy because my stats were higher. Calling Bloodhunt a stat check simulator might have been harsh, but I also can't say I was wrong. Forcing limits on players based on stats alone, not skill, is not only not fun, it actively removes any incentive to improve. What's the point in refining your technique if none of that matters as much as the numbers behind your screen? But let's be real. A lack of skill expression can be fine if the mode allows for build creativity and fun. Which brings me to my next issue. What is that? What is the body shape? Sorry, I've never noticed this before. I'm going to use good old Jeff as my example, because A, he's my son, and B, he's a very obvious case. When I was pushing Jeff through the higher Nightmare difficulties, I got stuck around Nightmare 90. I kept getting chased down or blown up. Wasn't sure what I was doing wrong, so I checked the top 500 leaderboard to see what the most successful players were building. And well, every single person was running almost the exact same build. On paper, the game offers you build variety. You can choose between a beam-focused Jeff or a dive-focused Jeff. The issue, it's not a real choice. If you want to keep making progress, at a certain point, beam just doesn't have enough health or damage to survive. The illusion of choice is there, but the game gives you no real option if you care about progress. Now, to be fair, items do exist. They help you get over the stat checks, but offer no variety. It's all buff this ability or increase that stat. The most interesting item I found let me carry more healing charges, and even that barely changed how I played. So here's my question to you, viewer. If difficulty is entirely tied to stat checks and expression just means picking the only viable build, where is the gameplay? Our team's kind of brain dead, no? They see two holes, the one that's being heavily guarded and is tighter, and one that is not tight and is not heavily guarded. They go for the heavily guarded tight hole. I'm on a team of men. You know what I thought Marvel Rivals was really missing? A mobile game style energy system. You know the ones. You can only do X actions, then wait or pay for more energy. Well, don't you worry. The devs heard our cries and added the ability to respawn at the cost of 123 tokens. These tokens can be earned at a rate of 3 per day. That's one entire respawn on Nightmare 100, or bought with real money. Now, these respawns were in the previous version of the PvE event, but you got more of them and they didn't scale up, meaning you only ever needed one respawn token. It didn't increase in price. But to be fair, I do play solo. In solo, you're forced to use tokens every time you die. You don't get the lenience of a teammate reviving you by surviving. So I'm seeing a harsher side of these tokens than most. But still, why are they sold at all? And why aren't they better balanced for solo players? There's a solo leaderboard. Surely giving us a way to earn more respawns would be more reasonable than free a day or pay. But you know what? If you play in groups, you barely need tokens, and I wasted 80 of mine being petty. So maybe I'm not the best judge. I'm sure those are the only microtransactions tied to the mode though. What? They're not? That's right. You can also pay to potentially get better items, directly buffing your stats. You can earn a lot of this crafting material for free. And again, it's not a necessary purchase, but when the entire mode's skill expression is tied to did you have X stat, allowing players to buy better items is certainly a choice. Neither in-game purchase is essential, neither is exorbitantly priced, but both are weird, right? Why have them here? Why give people with money to burn even a small advantage over those without? But Raven, I hear you say, they don't matter, lives aren't essential, you get plenty of materials just from playing. To which I say, my slippery little goblin, yes, but why put them there in the first place? Why not let us earn respawns in a more natural way? Why force in mobile game mechanics? I never liked the slippery slope argument, because it assumes too much about the devs' intentions, but based on NetEase's history and Rival's already heavy monetization, does this not worry you? Soft pay to win is still pay to win.
Someone that can't his character.
He did. It wasn't specific. If he...
Now, I do want to give the devs their flowers where they're deserved. PvE 2 did improve on some flaws from the first attempt. The maps are far better, more variety, more interesting layouts than just a big square. The bosses, whilst largely stat checks, are also improved, more interesting attack patterns and abilities. The enemies look great and come in a wide variety of flavors now. Also, removing the card gambling, it is far better for optimizing runs. That said, PvE 2 is far from perfect. I'd go as far as to say it might be worse than the first. A 2 steps forward, 4 steps back situation. But I do appreciate the idea behind it. I like that they're continuing to try new game modes, not just PvE ones. I'm just personally disappointed by the lack of expression, the mobile game-esque mechanics, and microtransactions. Oh, and none of this is mentioning the Marvel Rivals levels of optimization, but that is a rant for another day. Look, I might be out of touch. Maybe I'm just looking for a deeper PvE experience than a game like Rivals needs to offer. And I'm probably too early on the microtransactions conversation for people to appreciate the red flags it throws up. If you're enjoying PvE 2, let me know. I truly hope you are. I believe it's objectively a weak game mode, but that doesn't mean I want everyone to hate it. Share your thoughts in the comments, keep it respectful, and have a wonderful rest of your day.